Hello and welcome back to the Scottish cottage renovation. My name is Fran and I'm really sorry we haven't shown face this year. We've been very busy on a few different projects and for a while we didn't make a lot of progress on the house. So I thought I would take you along now to show you a couple of things we've been up to recently and show you how we're using one of the products as well. So I'm just going to show you what I've been up to fixing some mouse holes in the eaves before the next step. This is really difficult to film, but I'll just try to give you an idea of what I'm doing. So I've got three different tools for this. I've got a trowel, which is actually my gardening trowel, which I just fill in the bigger holes, and then anything smaller, I've got those two tools here. Which are just pointing tools, and this little trowel, and this just helps with filling in the holes. So right now obviously we've got quite a bit of hole just here that we need to fill in, and I'll show you what it looks like in a minute. So you can see I've smoothed over all the surfaces now, and hopefully again this bit will keep the rats out and the mice. So after we finished filling all the mouse holes in at the top of the walls, we started putting these kingspan bits in. There's enough space behind the kingspan and the sarking boards so they can still breathe and it doesn't trap any moisture, but it gives us a bit more insulation against the walls. And then moving on, we then put this membrane on here. It's called Pavatex. And basically it allows for air to move through and moisture, so it can breathe from this side, but it doesn't allow any moisture into the house on the other side. So it's a really good way of excluding the moisture. And the next project we've been working on, well, we've been kind of doing all three things simultaneously, given that the house isn't that massive. We've been putting the line render against the walls. So this is some real cool stuff. I'm going to show you a bit closer here. You can see it's got like similar to polystyrene balls in the actual render. So it can breathe, so it can allow air exchange through the stone, and it doesn't damage the sandstone. Because one of the things we're really aware of is obviously if you've put concrete render onto sandstone, it starts to include the moisture in the stone and then they can't breathe and you have bits shearing off. So we definitely want to avoid that. So we're using a breathable render with these little polystyrene balls. And I think the most interesting part of this is even a thin layer like here, you can see it's quite thin. If you touch this is relatively warm, but if you touch the actual stone, it's really cold and kind of moist feeling. So it does make quite a big difference, and we will do a bit of a neater job in some of these areas. We're still kind of working on it, work in progress. But one of the projects that we want to do is we want to finish this ASAP, because we have all these bags in here as well. And you can see it does feel a little bit like putting decoration on a turd, but I couldn't help myself. I had to put a Christmas tree in here. And another exciting project to come actually tomorrow is we've had all of these amazing windows delivered. So they're very thick wooden windows with aluminium clad on the outside, and Ben's colleague from work is coming tomorrow and helping to put the windows in. They're from a company called Nordan. They're triple glazed, they're soundproof, and they've also got safety glass in them, and they're all lockable. They just look fantastic, especially compared to our really old ones. You can see they're white. Some of them have cracks in the frame, and from the outside the paint's chipping off. And we have put one window in already, and it's not fully finished yet, so it'll get sealed in properly tomorrow, but it looks so great from the outside. And tomorrow what I'll do is, once we have a couple of windows in, I'll show you what we've been up to during the summer, but also what the windows look like. High five. Good boy. So meet our newest addition to the family. So this is Sheppy. We got a dog this year, which has been really exciting, and we just love having him around and getting up all to the muzzle mischief. Keeps on stealing trowels when we're working and screwdrivers and all sorts, but he's a very happy little guy. So one of the things we do is we spray the wall first, just with some moisture, because the lime render sticks to it a lot better if the wall is slightly damp. So you can see when it's wet, you can't actually see the balls very well, but they're still in there, as you saw earlier when I showed you the dry stuff. But it just makes such a difference, eh Ben?
Yeah.
It's a lot warmer.
Yeah, it's quite easy to put on. I'm not really trained as a plasterer, but there's a few tricks you can do. So when you put it on your hook, you can sugar it like that, and it should attract moisture. You can see I can turn it upside down, it doesn't fall off. And when you're taking it off the hook, a lot of people try and snip off like this, and you see it doesn't work. What you're actually trying to do is this stay still, and you're tilting the hook and scraping it off. And then it's just a bit of pressure against the wall. It should come off.
It also helps that Ben is really tall, so he almost does not need a ladder to do this whole wall.
Not quite, just the top bit, but it does help. This is a lime-based mortar, so you can wear gloves, because if you leave it on your skin too long it will start burning you, but I just generally keep my hands clean and wash them regularly, and if I do start to feel it burning or you see a bit of red skin, then put some vinegar on it, and that neutralises it. But you've got to be kind of careful with it. So this is about half a bag on the wall now. It doesn't take long to put on, but this is the first coat, so you tend to use a bit more because you're trying to fill in all these gaps and you'll end up using a lot more. So once this has had like an hour or two, you can go back with a piece of wire or something and score it so the next coat sticks to it. So you can get quite a lot of the roughness out on your first coat, and then each coat you can get smoother and smoother. You kind of want to put on pressure on your trowel and you'll feel it slacken off. So you'll feel less pressure against when you're hitting a hollow. So you want to back off and fill that in, and then when you feel more pressure, that's a high point. So you will kind of, as you get practice at it, start to feel that, and you can also like look along the wall or use a straight edge to see where it's not smooth. But we're not too worried about that. We're just trying to get it reasonably smooth.
Yeah, the end game here is probably quite still a rough cast wall, rougher than what you would see on average in I think most homes. Just going to go for the rustic feel, I think, like with most things. But yeah, those holes that Ben mentioned there, they were left in there originally for the dukes, so they're pieces of wood that they basically put into the stonework so they could nail against something, and then on top of that was the slats, and then they they were used to hold on to the lime render together with the lath.
It's basically what they used to use before, hammer fixings for timber framing onto a stone wall.
Yeah, it just really shows you how long nobody's done anything about these walls, eh?
Yeah.
So that's what the company is called, Baumit, and the actual product's called Demputs. We've been sourcing that from a company called Unity Lime, and we've just found them really helpful because they give us loads of advice on how to work with old buildings, but they also, it's in their best interest essentially that you don't enclose moisture anywhere and you do the right thing for the building so it doesn't come crumbling down because the sandstone is getting damaged. So that's been really useful. We're not affiliated with them, but I figured it'd be good to give them a mention.